What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. On whichever platform you're listening from, I really appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe, especially on YouTube as well. Before I get started, be sure to follow me on Twitter at I am Manny Wilson. Let's talk sports, and I'm most active on there, so let's get into it. I want to talk about the NBA Finals. Game 5 of the NBA Finals. I don't think it was a big deal that the Warriors won, and I'm actually pretty happy because that means my prediction of the Toronto Raptors taking it in 6 is about to come true. Or 7. I said 7. I'm sorry about that. I said 7 games. I wanted to earlier when I first started talking about the finals, I predicted the Raptors in 7 games. So I'm glad that's actually possible to come true now. When we look into this game, I want to start from the very beginning of the game. First off, Kevin Durant should not have played. I don't like this situation because you have some people out there that say, oh, well, Kevin Durant should have played as the verge of elimination, stuff like that. You got to put that injury to the side. He would have been soft if he didn't play. And everybody would have looked at him as if he was soft if he didn't play. And that's why, I don't really care about that. And I'm sure he doesn't care about that either. He just wanted to win, and I'm sure he didn't want the series to be over, which is why he played, and which is why they came to that collaborative decision on him actually playing in the game. So if Kevin Durant doesn't play, he's a sissy, he's soft, he's a punk. But now that he plays, it was just stupid. It was stupid of him to even go out there and try and play, knowing that he was hurt and far from 100%. So either way, it's a lose-lose. You're going to have people that's upset and angry regardless of what happened. So at that point, that really bothers me when it's at that situation. You got to choose a side and stick with it. My side is that I would have rather him. And it's not just because I want the Raptors to win. I wouldn't call myself a Raptors fan, so I wouldn't dare call myself a Raptors fan. I just want Kawhi Leonard to win. And it's not because I'm not saying Kevin Durant shouldn't have played because I want the Raptors to win. It's more so that he was already hurt. And I understand that it's a game that's on the verge of elimination, but he was already hurt, and it was not there. It just wasn't there. If you're hurt, you're hurt, and it's that simple. And some things you might be able to play through, but that was tough. It started off as a calf injury, and I guess it turned into a torn Achilles, which is tough. And I understand, you want to win that game, and you want to make sure your team does not get eliminated. But it's a tough situation, and if you're hurt, you're hurt. You got to heal through that process, and you can't cheat that process of healing from an injury that's already happened. It would have been tough. I would have loved to see Kevin Durant finish that game, and I would have loved to see Kevin Durant play in Game 6 and Game 7, because I still think Toronto Raptors can take down the Warriors with a fully healthy team. I still think the Raptors can beat, especially at this point, just win one game. While they're up 3-1 or now 3-2, I really believe the Raptors can at least get one game with a healthy Kevin Durant. Anyway, Kevin Durant is not healthy. I hate to say that he's not going to be playing in the other 2 games. But anyway, the way the fans handled that, I want to move on to the fans, and then I'll get to the game and actually break down the way that the Toronto Raptors lost and why it's nothing to be worried about at all. But the fans, that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous on their part. They should be ashamed of themselves. Canadians are supposed to be really nice people. I know people who've been there and said they are really nice people. I've never been there myself, but that's all we hear about Canada is that how nice the people are and things like that. But that was not a class act for them to cheer as Kevin Durant got hurt. For any athlete, I would never wish bad on any. I would never wish that on any athlete. So just any person in general, like that's messed up. That's 100% messed up, and that's like a worst fear of in any athlete, whether it's basketball, football, soccer, tennis. It could be almost any sport, just about any sport where you have to stand up. That's a tough injury right there, an Achilles injury. It takes a very long time to heal from that and come back from that, and it takes a lot of mental strength as well as physical strength. I do think Kevin Durant is going to be able to do that, but he will be out for at least half the season next year from a torn Achilles. It's going to take some time for him to come back, and I look forward to him coming back. Also, free agency. Where is he going to sign? Does him not being able to finish the NBA Finals with the Warriors influence him to want to re-sign with the Warriors again? It can be either way, and I think it can go a lot of different ways. But that'll also be very interesting to see in terms of the NBA game of Game 5, the finals game. Really, it's nothing to be worried about, though. I'm excited that the Warriors got their game. I know it was a good little momentum change and a momentum shifter. So now some people think, oh, well, the Warriors got more momentum. They're about to win 3 games in a row. They won on Monday, the one other day. That's 1 game right there. Now they have to just take care of business on Thursday and then take care of business in Game 7. That's a lot of taking care of business. I don't know if you watched what LeBron did to the Warriors when he came back from a 3-1 lead, but that was a lot of taking care of business he had to do. That man was tired. That man was exhausted. They came back from a 3-1 lead. That's not easy to do, regardless of the team that you have and regardless of the players that you have, because it's tough. And Toronto Raptors are a great team. I know they lost in Game 5, but I don't look at this as something that's just terrible or as a gateway for the Warriors to win. Especially after watching the way the Raptors played in Game 1, Game 2, and Game 3, and Game 4. I watched Game 5 and just realized that it was only a bad game. It was just a bad game. Raptors couldn't really make shots. And it was some bad decisions that happened on the coaching part come late game, because I don't know why Nick Nurse called the timeout. That's the Toronto Raptors coach. He called the timeout when Kawhi Leonard was hot and when Kawhi Leonard could not be stopped. His excuse for it was that he wanted to make sure his players had plenty of rest during a stretch. But that kind of killed the momentum that they had because Kawhi was going off. He was going off at that time. So you kind of could have let that play out. You could have let that play out. And it's a possibility that they could have been champions by now and that this series would have been over. I would have already been talking about free agency and things like that. But that did not happen. It's going to Game 6. It's a possibility that the Raptors can win Game 6 as well. Anytime the Raptors lost in the playoffs, they bounced back. Very strong, bounce back very strong, and it's not just the NBA Finals, where they've done that, but also just the NBA, the playoffs, all throughout the playoffs. With the series with the 76ers, they've done great at bouncing back after a loss. The Milwaukee Bucks, they've done great after bouncing back from a loss, and they've ultimately came to win those series. And now I think the same thing is going to happen. It's a possibility they get it done in Golden State. They did it twice already. So it's not like it's impossible to do. They had a bad game in Game 5. Siakam was out there blowing bunnies. He wasn't shooting. He's not a good 3-point shooter, but he can make them. He can make them, but he's not a good 3-point shooter. He went 0 for 4 from the 3-point line. Danny Green is one of the great shooters in the game. He's one of the best shooters in the game. He didn't have a great game in Game 5. Game 4 and Game 3, he played phenomenal, or he shot the ball phenomenal. He shot really well. Kyle Lowry even shot really well Game 3 and Game 4, and the Raptors won those games. But Game 5, Danny Green did not shoot good at all, especially from the 3-point line. He shot 0 for 4 from the 3-point line, 2 for 7 overall. He didn't play that well. He didn't play well, and it was small things. Yeah, Kawhi started to go off, but I mean, like I always say, a star player needs help. Regardless of how good that player is, he needs some kind of help. Whether it's, he needs somebody to step up. Somebody has to help him out and at least contribute to all the work that he's been putting in, that the star player has been putting in. And Kawhi, he was going off, but his team, Marc Gasol played pretty well. He played pretty solid. But everyone else, the shooting just was not there. It's as simple as that. The shooting was just not there for the Toronto Raptors. Because Kyle Lowry didn't shoot well either. And I did see that Bleacher Report released a picture of Draymond Green blocking that last shot. So for those of you who think Kyle Lowry just threw up some wild BS, that was not the case. And I was so happy that wasn't the case once I seen that picture for that last shot that Draymond Green blocked. He blocked it in Game 5. It was the last shot Kyle Lowry threw up. It was a block. And I was just so happy to see that, because initially, when I first watched it and witnessed Kyle Lowry throw up that last second shot, it blew my mind, because the ball went to the side of the backboard and on top of the backboard, and I'm just like, are you serious? Kyle Lowry, what is going on? Why are you shooting a ball that terrible from the corner? And you're a professional. Why are you shooting the ball on top of the backboard when the game is on the line? And I kind of lost it. I kind of lost it a little bit at the moment. But I seen afterward that it was initially a block. Draymond Green blocked it. So kudos to him. That was great defense. It was great defense from the Warriors. They did pull strong and finish that game. So I'm not discrediting the Warriors at all. They made some big shots down the stretch. Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry, huge shots down the stretch, and that ultimately did lead them into winning the game. But really the main thing with this game, and why I'm not worried that the Warriors won in Game 5, is because Toronto played a bad game, man. They didn't shoot the ball well at all. Let Toronto come out here. Danny Green is hitting his shots. Kyle Lowry is making his shots. And Siakam and Marc Gasol is all playing great. Ibaka is playing great. If that happens in Game 6, I guarantee there will not be a Game 7. There will not be a Game 7 if that happens in Game 6. As long as Kawhi is getting some kind of help from his teammates with shooting the ball, if they're shooting the ball even okay, it will not be a Game 7. It will not be a Game 7 at all. Because any game that you look at before the Game 5 where none of the role players were really shooting well, Toronto Raptors have pulled off. They've pulled it off. When you have Danny Green shooting the ball very well, or even shooting the ball average, they pulled off those games. Even if Kyle Lowry is making a few threes, they pulled off those games. When Ibaka and Marc Gasol and Siakam, when they are all playing great, and even Van Fleet when he's playing good coming off the bench, and he's been playing way better. He stepped up his game tremendously from the regular season. And when those guys are all playing great, or at least giving you, the small amount of help that Kawhi needs, they finish the game with the win. And I believe that's going to happen again, possibly in Game 6, but for sure in Game 7. That was what I called originally. I said Raptors in 7. It's a possibility it's still going to happen. I mean, like I said, I don't really mind if it's in 7 or 6. I don't care if it was in 5. I just want to see the Raptors win. I need Kawhi to beat the Warriors the same way he should have when he was with San Antonio before he got hurt by Zaza Pachulia in 2015 or 2016. One of those years. Between those years. Most basketball heads know what I'm talking about, but that was the year for the San Antonio Spurs to go back to the finals, and that was the year for them to beat the Golden State Warriors. But when Kawhi got hurt, everything changed. And history was rewritten. From that point on, that's just how it went. When Kawhi went down, the Spurs really did not stand a chance against the Warriors, and the Warriors went on, and hey, they got it done. I think the same thing is going to happen with the Golden State Warriors and Toronto Raptors this year. I mean, I hate to say it, but Kevin Durant is down. So with Kevin Durant down, that makes it a lot easier for the Raptors to win Game 6 or Game 7. And that's just the way it is. Still got Raptors in 7. I hope they pull it off in 6. That's the run. Take your fitness to new heights and get fit with Jazz. Join in on exciting workout classes and side-by-side personal training with fitness instructor Jasmine Brown. For only $45, you can receive the 21-day Jumpstart Plan and the standard nutritional guide for weight loss. It takes 21 days to make a habit. Why not make yours a healthy one? You want the killer abs? Try the 30-day belly blast for only $30. This 30-day challenge is designed to blast away that unwanted belly fat while targeting your lower abs, upper abs, and total core in 30 minutes of your day. To see results, visit JasmineB_fit on Instagram or visit getfitwithjazz.com. Join now and take your fitness to new heights at getfitwithjazz.com.